Welcome back to the next episode of My Freemasonry Stories, and today I'm joined by Mark Kilby from Paulinus 3957. Welcome, Mark. Thank you for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Chris. Nice to meet you.
Excellent, thank you. Right, okay. Mark, how long have you been a Freemason?
About 3 years.
Okay.
Short 3 years.
And how did you get into the merry gang of being a Freemason? Did someone come and tap you on the shoulder, whisper you in your ear, and give you a funny handshake, or how did the lights of Freemasonry come upon you?
Well, it was my uncle. My uncle's a Freemason in Cambridgeshire. He's actually, well, just to drop a little name there, he's actually the Deputy Provincial Grand Master of Cambridgeshire.
It does. The people who drop in these big names, it doesn't impress anyone.
Well, at least you got to try. Yeah, try to impress.
Of course you have. Of course you have.
Anyway, no.
I've got a few friends in Grantham that do drop names like that, but we pull their leg. That's the way we roll in Grantham. But
no, that's fine. That's fine. You deserve that if you drop anything. But anyway, yes, he'd spoken to me about Freemasonry for a long time, and to be fair, it was something that I kind of used to sort of take the mickey out of him a bit, like Hogwarts and stuff like that, and which he took in good part. But actually, when he used to talk about some of the activities that he got involved with, and been to barbecues where I've met other friends of his who are also Freemasons, and I don't know, it's a timing thing, I suppose, but he'd been on about it for
decades.
Good 10 years, I would have think. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any fears, or you think, because let's be honest, there's a lot of people out there say a lot of funny things about the Freemasons?
No, the only thing for me is because one of the sort of the requirements, if you like, is to have a belief in a higher being, and that's probably something that for most of my adult life I'd shied away from. So a challenge for me, a hurdle for me, was to sort of reevaluate that to a certain extent. And to be honest with you, one of the things that struck me is that what do I do when things are difficult? I always look outside of myself. So yes, so that was a little bit of a journey in itself, which was interesting for me.
How did it make you feel to have that journey?
Well, it's a process of looking at myself, which within sort of my profession, if you like, is not unusual, and quite an interesting thing to have a look at your own kind of psyche and your own beliefs, and kind of like move away from how you think you're supposed to be, and to sort of get closer to how you actually are. So that was interesting, a little bit uncomfortable at times, because
of course it is.
The people around me would expect certain things from me, and they got something different.
I think as long as you're true to yourself, that's the main thing. So once you've been on that journey and realized that there was something else, and a higher being, it doesn't matter what that higher being is. Every religion has it doesn't matter what religion you are as in a Freemason, as long as you believe in something bigger. It doesn't even have to have a name, just a higher being. Did you all of a sudden say, right, I want to join the Freemasons, and ring your uncle up, or how did that happen then?
Well, I suppose realistically, one of the first thing that happened before I went on this sort of little journey was that I started thinking about, because the job I do is quite isolating, and one of the things that struck me about when Uncle Pat was talking about stuff was how social the thing is. Not just sort of social, but also there's the charity element, so that sort of appeals as well. Doing a bit of good whilst having a good time seems like a really good idea to me. And so one of the things that really sort of got me thinking was about yeah, the social aspect, meeting up with people, having a common
So you
goal, if you like.
you saw from your uncle that it was a social element that was doing good for charity, good for fellow men, good for your brothers. How did you actually make the jump to actually say, go on then, you've got me, I'll come along to a meeting?
Well, so I went and actually had deliberately visited him and sort of just have a conversation. So look, this is how I'm thinking. Um, tell me a bit more. Tell me about the practicalities. Tell me about the costs.
He didn't tell you that line that there's only 8 meetings a year, did he? Like they all do with everyone else. And it actually turns out it's probably 8 meetings a month. It is a bit, it's a bit more than 8 meetings a month. He did, didn't he?
No, he didn't. But one of the things he did say was, do what you're comfortable with.
Yes.
And actually, for me, that's really the best piece of advice, because everybody says to you, like, that it's like family, your work, and then Freemasonry. And then, after that, when you're actually in, there's quite a, come and visit us here, and yet have you thought about this? And there's that sort of stuff going on, So I think that advice of, having a bit of a plan and having a bit of a kind of an awareness of what you're willing to give, I suppose, both time and money.
I'm with you. So you spoke with your uncle. I assume you just pressed the button and someone from Lincolnshire gave you a call?
Yeah, he very kindly actually wrote me a letter of introduction.
Okay. So are you from Lincoln?
I'm originally from Cambridgeshire, but I've been living in Lincolnshire for 26 years.
So you
climatized.
You applied. You went into Paulinus. There's a number of Lincoln lodges. Why did you choose that one? Or did they choose you?
Well, it was, I suppose, that my first contact with anybody from Lincolnshire was Dave Wheeler.
Yep.
Who obviously is a Paulinus member.
And he would have been membership officer at the time, wouldn't he?
I can't remember, to be fair.
Something anyway.
But he did sort of sketch out the other lodges, and a lot of it was to do with, I guess, the timing of the meeting. But other than that, I didn't have a strong preference, so I just kind of went with that. I'm glad I did.
Yeah. Can you remember your first meeting?
Yes.
Without giving anything away, how good was it? Scary yet exciting.
It would, one of the things was actually it felt very welcoming from the start. It was a bit scary because you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, and there are so many bits of etiquette and stuff that and you do feel like a fish out of water to start with. And
then the festive board at the end, and you're at the top table, and everyone they drop it on you in like 2 minutes to go. You've got a speech to give. I was given 2 minutes.
I was given some support with that, which was very good actually. Again, I've got to thank Dave Wheeler for that. He did actually prepare me very well.
Good stuff. So 3 years in, have you passed? Have you gone? You must have done your third by now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you got a job on the floor at the moment? Have you made in the guard, or do you have to wait?
No, I'm last season or this season, suspended season, a steward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long before you make in charge of the door?
No idea actually. To be fair, I think there's at least 2 or 3 people in front of me, I think.
Okay. A lot of people that I talk to say it took a good couple of years for it to all kind of fall into place, so it wasn't a surprise. Did it take as long for you? It kind of, the first year and a half or 2 years, it kind of you're kind of going with it, but you're not riding it. But then all of a sudden it fits into place. Did that happen with you, or are you still waiting for that epiphany moment?
I think I feel like I'm sort of growing into it a bit, really. It's I don't feel quite like a fish out of water.
Have you started correcting people's lines yet? That shows that you've dropped it.
No. And to be honest with you, I'm going to make a strong effort never to do that.
Is there a particular, obviously you've seen the various different ceremonies. Is there a particular ceremony you enjoy or you like, either being part of it or watching it?
I'm watching the third degree. I like that.
It is good. Have they given you any bits to do? You know what the DCs are like. They drop it on you with 2 weeks to go, saying learn this. So.
Yeah, well, no, I've done a little bit. I've done sort of badge charges and warrants and things like that. So yeah.
So you enjoy it?
Yes.
How do you get on with your ritual? I mean, how do you get on with your ritual? Because I mean, you've got Nick Brown in your lodge, which is a top ritualist.
Well, there's a few people that are very good actually, and I try to be inspired rather than intimidated. Let's put it that way. But
do you think you should judge a Freemason solely on his ritual?
Oh no, not at all. No, that's just your ability as a performer, I think, and your ability to remember stuff. It's not really a mark of you as a man in a particular way.
What would you change about Freemasonry? I know you've only been in 3 years.
What would I change about it? Well, that's a difficult one to answer, really, because I think if you'd asked me that a little while ago, I might have sort of said it needs to, that because it's a lot of it's so arcane, it needs to be more accessible, in some way. But actually, the more I sort of think about that, the more I experience that, I don't think that's true. I think it's I think there's a lot to be said for holding on to tradition and particularly holding on to traditional values and not getting kind of sucked up into
modernism.
Modernism, really. Yeah, I think there is a danger in that, and I think
Do you think that the older brethren, and in particular probably your proposer or your mentor, could have worked a bit closer with you so you didn't feel that way? That's not a criticism, by the way. Just just a shout out to the guys in Lincolnshire, just to say, look, hold on a second, guys.
Honestly, no. I think my personal belief is, look, you have to do what feels right for you. So you have to make your own way in a lot of ways. And it's working your own thoughts out about it. So somebody else I don't think somebody else telling me any more than they told me would be that helpful.
Do you think by you discovering it, it's actually made it more important to you that you've actually discovered it yourself and not been told it?
Well, I think that's my feeling, is that I do feel more engaged with Freemasonry now than I did when I started, which I suppose you'd expect, but it feels more mine than.
Okay, so have you joined chapter yet? Have the thumb screws been turned on that yet?
I would have, except for the pandemic. I would have. Do
you think it was
joining in May?
What I mean, some people say you should wait a few years. Some people say you should jump straight in. What made your decision to go for it now?
Just that it felt timely. I like the idea of moving towards something.
Yes.
So it was the next thing to move towards. I think there is that sort of thing dangled in front of you that is part of your Masonic journey. So I am curious.
Once you've gone through that, there's another step, and there's another step, and you'll be like the Boy Scouts with all your badges. Bless them.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I mean, but that's, I guess that is part of the point of this, is that there is, along with everything else, that there are new things to experience.
You're right. And that's what life's about, isn't it? Experiences.
I think so. Yeah.
Not buying stuff to try to impress people you don't like, but in personal experiences on your life's journey. One final question, Mark, if you don't mind me asking. Let's just say that your friend, doesn't matter whether they come from Lincolnshire or not, who's not a Freemason, came to you and you were down the pub and you had to explain to them quite succinctly and to the point why they should consider Freemasonry. What would you say to them?
Well, I'd never say that anybody should, but what I think they might get out of it is they develop some new friends. They would have a social group to be part of, and actually, I think importantly, a male social group to be part of, where you're going to be accepted. Yeah, there is a moral code element to that. So there's the opportunity, if you wanted to use it that way, to become a better man. And there's some things to learn, and you can have some fun, and you can help other people in the process.
It's a great organisation. It's a great organisation. Mark, I'd like to thank you for your time today. I'd like to thank the audience watching this. If you are a Freemason and you have got a story to tell about why you joined Freemasonry, then please do contact the provincial communications boss, Stuart Piercy, through the Lincolnshire provincial website, and we'll get that arranged. Mark, thank you again. You've been extremely insightful, very interesting and very educational. So thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Chris. Bye-bye.